Hey guys, Stingley here from Slick Games. Welcome to another Game Jam devlog video. In this video we're going to be looking at the Pirate Software Game Jam. It's a 14-day jam. I'm already a day into it, except I haven't done anything yet, I haven't made anything. The theme for the jam is It's Spreading, and this one's a little bit different in the fact that I have to create a document that actually details the game beforehand, this game design document down here. I had a look at the sample game design document the other day, and it's quite extensive. I don't think mine's going to look anywhere near as detailed as this. This is very elaborate. In contrast, this is my version of the document. It's a lot more simplistic, and to be fair, I haven't actually detailed anything yet. This is just some ideas that I've jotted down. But with the theme of It's Spreading, I'm thinking I'm going to make like a cute top-down isometric kind of twin-stick shooter whereby you're a nursery assistant in charge with cleaning up dirty kids, and the kids are going to run around causing chaos and so forth. So it's just after 10 o'clock at the moment. I've probably got a couple of hours of game development time tonight. Let's see how we get on. Okay, here we are, a couple of hours in. As you can see, it's now 20 past 12. I've got my basic level and character player stuff set up. So you can see here, I've got a little dude, he runs around, he's got 4 directional movement, and I've got a room which I can collide with walls in, basically. And that is where we're at. If you're interested, I'm planning to use this Modern Interiors pack here by Lime Zoo. It's really good. I'm probably going to end up buying the full pack, but I'm using the free version at the moment just to get the basics sorted out. And also, while I'm here, big shout out to Heartbeast's RPG series tutorial. It might be for Godot 3.2, I think it is. Yeah, 3.2. But there's a lot of brilliant information in here, and I can never remember how to set up animation blend states properly. So I've referenced his videos. They're just the best. This is how I learned how to make games. So there's a reason why there's 2.3 million views on this particular playlist. And if you don't know what I mean by animation blend states, what I have here within my player is I have all of these animations set up in the animation player. So as you can see here, I've got idle down, left, right and up, and I've got run down, left, right and up. In the animation tree, I have an idle state and I have a run state. And the way this works is you basically define the animations you want running at each of these particular points, and then you set the position of the blend state within the code. So if I drag this little crosshair around to the left, you can see it plays the left idle animation, to the right plays the right idle animation, so on and so forth. Up and down is inverted, I'm not sure why. The run animations are set in exactly the same way. So you can see here run left, running down, running up and running right. And then within the code, whenever there's movement from the player, you set the blend positions here for both the idle and the run states, and then simply transition to the run when you're moving, or the idle when you're not moving. It's a great system. It's really simple, but a little bit fiddly to set up, and like I say, Heartbeast's tutorials just go over it in great details. It's now Sunday night, or I guess Monday morning, since it's now actually 1:45. I've made some pretty good progress tonight. I wasn't actually going to record, but I think it's worth an update. My player now has a slightly different way of moving around. It now faces towards your mouse instead of the direction that he's walking. And this is obviously to set up the sort of twin stick shooter aspect of the game. I now have a lovely new item in the game, which is simply the Godot icon, and this item has a few methods which basically allow it to get dirty, and then some methods to return whether it is dirty or not. And then the real star of the show here is my child. Obviously this is not a child, but you get the idea. It's a character in exactly the same format as the player, but it has a Beehave artificial intelligence tree, so a behaviour tree. This is a plugin by BitBrain, It's really good actually, it's well documented. I tried using it before in the Ukraine Winter Jam game that I made. It was quite frustrating. I had a few problems with it, but considering my game this time around is going to have much simpler AI, I thought I'd give it another go. Obviously at the moment the actual tree is incredibly simple. All it's going to do is walk to a random clean item. That's effectively what it's trying to do. So there's a bunch of code in here which is trying to work out whether it's reached the target, and if it hasn't reached the target, it goes and finds a target item, so a target clean item, and that will return the position that the child is going to walk towards. So you can see here we set the target location on the actor. The actor is the thing that's being passed in by the tree, which is the child, and on the child script itself, so whenever a target location is set for the child, it's going to go and update the navigation agent 2D target position at the same time. And then in the physics process, it's basically looking to get the next path position from the navigation agent 2D, and then the actual move code is almost exactly the same as the player, the difference being that it's moving in the direction that the child wants to walk in. So when you run the game, the dirty child will run off to each item in turn, making the item dirty, and then this, because it doesn't do anything else once it's got all of the items dirty. But you can see also the player is moving and facing the mouse at all times and not the direction he was moving in before. So yeah, that's as far as I've got, but I'm really pleased with that because this whole path planning thing took an absolute age when I did the Ukraine Winter Jam game. I could not get it right at all. This is a much better state, especially after 2 days. So yeah, really pleased with that. I'm going to bed now and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, it's not tomorrow, it's now Wednesday night. I went ahead and actually bought this asset pack, the Modern Interiors asset pack, and actually I'm blown away by the value. I paid $3 for this. I could have bought it for $1.50. I paid $3, and that's what, £2.37. And in this pack you get a tremendous number of assets. So here in Sprite, this is like one massive sprite sheet. There's actually various folders. It divvies it up into different sort of subcategories and so forth. It's really well organised. But for just a demonstrative purpose, just look at the number of things you get in this one sheet. There's loads. You've got guitars, pianos, various musical instruments, balloons. You've got gym equipment, toilets, bathroom sets, all sorts of stuff, outside things, tables, chairs, beds. It's monstrous, it really is. And the funny thing about it is I've not used any of them yet. What I've been doing is utilising the other thing that came with this asset pack, and that is this. It is a character generator. So as part of the asset pack you get all sorts of different I guess body parts, accessories, outfits, so on and so forth. And this little tool allows you to combine them together to create sprite sheets, and it works as you would expect. You can select your body colour, your eye colours, you can select accessories, you can pick outfits, pick hairstyles, etc., and generate a character by just saving it. It's also got this great randomize function in it, which allows you to generate loads of different things. Really useful tool. What's great about it is there's actually somewhere in here, not in this bit. Here, the character type, you can change it to child. Now there's less options for children, but it still allows you to generate some pretty different looking kids. When you save it, you end up with a sprite sheet that looks like this, and as you can see, you've got idle animations, you've got run animations. These are the only two that I'm actually going to be using. You've got all sorts of additional stuff like sitting and drinking, and I don't know what this guy's doing, reading a book. climbing. Don't know what all this stuff is. But yeah, absolutely loads. And that's based off of my selection for just that one character. Really good value, £2.37. So the other thing I've done is created myself a Kanban board with various different tasks in it. These are all the things I've done so far. So you've got basic sprites, basic tile map, and the Dirty Child AI is now complete. I'll come to that in a second. The Clean Child AI is also complete, and I shall show you what I've done there. I've added an aiming reticle, and you can now shoot water cleans the children items. All this stuff is done. And in actual fact, I've just done this randomly select child sprites on spawn. So that's done as well. If you're interested in this application, by the way, it's called Obsidian. It is completely free, and this is the Kanban plugin for it. It's really useful. I find listing out tasks within something like this to be extremely handy from a productivity point of view, because not only can you see what you've got left to do, you can jot down additional ideas, and you can clearly see how well you're getting on and get a decent feel for what you need to actually complete in order to complete the game. So if you're not already, I highly suggest or highly recommend using a system like this. It can be using an application like this. You could use Trello, which works perfectly fine. I've just hit the cap on Trello. Or even just using post-it notes and sticking them on a wall or something like that. Just the ability to track your ideas, track the work that's left to do in a project is invaluable. So here's where I've got with my child AI. I have a Dirty Child AI and I have a Clean Child AI. And you might go, well, hang on a minute, how can you possibly have both AI trees in the same node? And it's pretty simple. You can turn them on and off. So I have them both off. No, I don't have them both off. I have the clean one on by default. I have the Dirty Child AI off by default. And then when the child gets dirty, it disables the Clean Child AI, it enables the Dirty Child AI, and away you go. And the way that it works is the fact that the Dirty Child is looking to spread dirt and the Clean Child is looking to get dirty. So it's pretty straightforward. The logic basically states that if there are no clean items, then you just stop moving, and the Clean Child, if there are no dirty items within range, then it stops moving. The logic for spreading dirt and getting dirty is very, very similar. So spreading dirt, we're going to have it walk to a random clean item, whereas when you get dirty, you're going to walk to the closest dirty item. The actual logic inside of this is almost exactly the same. So this was the original script, walking to clean item. The only thing I've changed in this is there's now an additional check to make sure that the target item that you are walking towards remains clean, because obviously if it becomes dirty, then this character is no longer interested in making it dirty again, if that makes sense. Walking to the closest dirty item, very, very simple, very, very similar. The only difference is the fact we're trying to find the closest item, and in the closest item logic we are looking specifically for items that are dirty, because we're walking to the closest dirty item, and this is the logic that does that. So when you play the game now, there's a dirty child and there are clean children. As the items become dirty and they're within range, so children then go off to get dirty or clean, etc. When you clean an item, they all rush to make it dirty again as quickly as possible. You can make children clean by shooting water at them. So I wasn't planning on working on this tonight, but I've got a character select screen working now with keyboard controls as well and mouse controls hovering over the thing. You can now choose which character you play as, and whichever one you select is your character in game. Okay, it's now Saturday night. I've made quite a lot of progress in the game, but one of the things I really like about these 2-week jams, or the sort of longer jams, is the fact that when you skip a day like I did yesterday, it doesn't feel like absolute disaster. I wasn't stressed about it. I had a nice time doing other things with my family, and just cracked on. It's wonderful. But anyway, you can see here my to-do list is looking shorter, and my done list is looking longer. So let me walk you through what's happened with the game. So the first most obvious thing is the fact that all the tiles have now changed. I've put the proper tiles in the game now. These are the tiles I intend to use. I've also fixed the issue with children overlapping plants and not being dirty when they're overlapping. That was fairly easy to sort out. I've got little particle effects now on my water shot, and I've also made it so if you hold the mouse down, it just sprays the water all over the place until it stops spraying. And the other thing I've added into the game is a water meter, a water gauge. So now when you're empty, you can no longer shoot, and you have to go to the sink to refill the gun. Pressing E or the interact button will refill that gun. Other things to note, I now have a UI. You might have seen it counting down the time. That is the time set for this level, and you can see a percentage complete, and if it is red then you have not met the required criteria, which I think 50% on this level, and if it is green then you have done so. So I can run around, I can make everything clean, everything's 100% clean, and there we go. I do have a couple of issues with the game. There is a bug which I don't think I'm going to be able to get it to do, but basically there's a certain point whereby you can sort of trap the child, so they get sort of stuck, becoming clean and becoming dirty, becoming clean, becoming dirty, and I can't get it to doing that, of course, which is just typical. The other problem that I've got is the game is either incredibly easy at times or almost impossible. You can see there, completed that, no problem at all. But if I let them get a hold, it's really hard to catch up. So if I just boom, there you go, level complete. Far too simple. But if they make a few things dirty, then all of a sudden it becomes a lot more difficult to play, like tremendously so. And the aiming reticle as well is kind of annoying. Water. So yeah, it's very tricky. So yeah, so the question around balancing difficulty here, definitely. But before I balance the difficulty, I'm going to spend a bit of time adding in some new items into the game. I just wanted to show you how I do that, because it's actually quite cool. I've basically got this item object already set up, as you can see, with nothing showing, but all the stuff that it needs, sort of the framework, if you like, of the item. It's also got the script on it that does the whole is dirty, is clean, become dirty, become clean, etc. So what I do to make a new item is I go into scene and I go for new inherited scene. I pick my root item class, and that gives me all of the same things, and then I can come in here and I can find the item I'm going to make. Let's say I'm going to do bees coloured blocks, for example. So I will put my coloured blocks in, and I can then reposition my tile map, just so. I will need to add in a collision shape, so we'll go for a capsule shape. Now this first one is the sort of collision with the player. This one is how large the overall thing is, so that when I'm squirting water at it I can actually hit it. So we'll go for another capsule shape. Yeah, something like that will do. Call it boxes and save, and then I can come into my environment, find my boxes, just drag them on somewhere, and now that's it. When I play the game, the children will run up and interact with these boxes. Perfect, just like that. So I'm going to make a bunch of these items, and I'll be back in a little bit. we go. There's that weird bug I was talking about. I've got no idea why they're doing this. They're just... I don't know. It's just really weird. Right, as you can see down here, I've now created an absolute boatload of furniture items and items that could be interacted with to make them clean and dirty. There's loads of these, and that's great, apart from the fact that now what tends to happen is the child walks straight into the item, and this is because I hadn't actually set the collision mask properly, so the children were just walking straight through things, and that was fine when the items are like small, but going straight through like a doll's house and a table and things, it was a bit weird. The problem that I've now got is, well, this. It's trying to pass straight through this doll's house, and I don't understand how to use the obstacle object properly. So you can see here, this is my doll's house. I have added a navigation obstacle 2D to every single item in the game, and on this doll's house I have created an area that it shouldn't path through. My problem is the fact that reading up on the documentation for this, it kind of just sort of says that it's a gentle pushing away, and it doesn't seem to be gently pushing anything at all. So I'm a bit stuck. I think I'm going to have to do some Googling, but not right now because it's 1:10. I'm going to leave this for the moment. What's really frustrating is the fact that I've started defining these shapes on other items as well, but I don't actually know if this is the right way to do it, so I'm going to just down tools and do some research on this, I think, and come back to it tomorrow. It's now Sunday evening. I've spent quite a lot of time looking into this issue, and it's not great news, to be honest. I've created myself a little test scene, as you can see here, and with the default behaviour enabled, what I've got is a dirty child who runs straight into a solid object and refuses to path around it. And that's because the navigation agent 2D will actually do like a computed velocity, and what that means is that when it computes a safe trajectory of a node, it will return that back to a connected method. So in this case, move. Move passes in safe velocity, which you then set to be the velocity, and then instead of moving and sliding in your main physics method, you have to do this set velocity thing here. But it doesn't work very well. You can see here, it's trying to move to one side and then sort of like rubber bands back. And this is because the obstacle node is merely sort of exerting sort of a force against the moving character body. It doesn't actually path around it, it simply sort of gently suggests that maybe it doesn't want to walk straight into it, but it doesn't work very well. And this is a problem because I can't have this in the game, so I am going to attempt to implement some steering behaviour that I wrote for a previous game. So when I did the Ukraine Winter Jam, I implemented this fairly standalone steering script that you basically feed a direction to, and it runs through all sorts of different calculations to work out whether or not the body can move in that direction, and then it returns the actual direction that it can move in. So I'm going to try and implement this. The problem that I've got here is this is Godot 3.5, I think it is, and I'm obviously now using 4.3 or something or other, and the syntax won't be exactly the same. So I'm going to spend a bit of time trying to port this into Godot 4 and see how I get on. It turns out it actually wasn't too difficult to port it into Godot 4. The rest of the time though has been spent on trying to make it actually work. I've added some draw functions down here so you can see what's going on. So what we now have is, my setup is working like this with the child slightly offset to one side. Now when this runs, you can see a few things going on. So for starters, this blue circle here, this is the look ahead range. So anything within this range is going to get triggered as a collision. So you can see here, these lines here, which are the raycasts that go out in all different directions, they're trying to work out which direction the character should be moving in, and the way that it works is it basically sets the interest, and that's the interest that is passed to it in terms of the direction of the path. That's the way that it wants to go, and then it casts the rays ahead to try and work out if there's any danger in that area, and then it subtracts one from the other, and then that gives you a value for each of the individual rays, which you then add up, and then that gives you your resulting trajectory, which is this black line here. So you can see when I redo this, the child will walk towards this block and around it. You see him sort of deviate slightly. I'll just turn the circle off so you can see this a little bit better. Okay, so it actually walks around. So even though the path basically clips the side of this unit, the child will walk around it because it's being steered by the directionality of the interest and the steering algorithm. The problem that I have is when the child is just a little bit further over, it has a hissy fit. It gets stuck, and it's because it's trying to reach this point here, and the fact that it can't get to it just doesn't work very well, as you can see. And this is even more obvious when you actually try and look at this actually in game. So the children will walk and they just sort of end up getting stuck on things, as you can see. They're casting their rays around, they're moving around, and the movement is way more natural, which is kind of nice, apart from obviously when they get stuck on things. But the movement up until the point they get stuck it's nice to see. I like it. It works really well. But this doesn't work, and I honestly don't know what to do because it's fighting with the path planning. That's the problem. It needs to kind of work together in conjunction. The path planning needs to take into account the fact that there are objects in the way and path around it, and then the steering force, the steering algorithm would then sort of move them nicely around those objects, if that makes sense. So they won't walk in a completely straight line, they'll sort of weave. But I don't know how to do that. I think I've got this figured out now. So the changes I've had to make is basically I've had to remove the navigation part of the tile map, just removed it completely. That navigation layer no longer exists, and instead I've created a navigation region 2D that sort of surrounds the level. So if I hide my tile map, in my navigation region 2D you can set it so that if it's the root node, when you bake a new navigation polygon up here, it takes into account static objects that are within that region. So you can see here the navigation mesh now actually includes these little holes, and consequently when the child is navigating it, it will move around the objects. Now I've kept my steering behaviour on here as well because I want to try and maintain a little bit more of a natural thing when it becomes a little bit more elaborate, a bit more natural movement, and I'll show you what that looks like. It's a bit chaotic. You can see here there's my children running around, and it looks okay. It looks a little bit crazy, and that's because the navigation mesh itself is a bit weird. And the other problem that I've got now is they can't reach the globe. They haven't been able to reach the globe previously, but apparently now they can. So it's now a couple of days later. It's actually Wednesday lunchtime. I've got the day off today, but I haven't got any time to actually do any game development still until this evening, which basically means I've got tonight, tomorrow night and Friday night to complete this game. So quick update, I've done a few bits and bobs to the game. As you can see here, I've got the level complete fail screen working, and I've actually got an upgrade system in place. I'll show you that in a minute. I've started designing the full levels. I'm up to 4 so far. I don't think I'm going to do all 10. Might go for 8, I'm not sure yet. Mainly because I think I need to visually separate it, but again I'll show you that in a moment. I think now though is the time to realistically look at the to-do list and trim out some of the fat. So Adding water bombs I think is a great idea, but I haven't got time to do it, I don't think, which means I don't need to do that as well. I really wanted to add a gun to this player sprite, but I'm not sure I'm going to have time to do that. It looks stupid if I don't though. I'll leave that there for the moment. Prompting the player to reload when empty, don't know about that. I'm going to need a main menu. I've started working one up. Well, I started working on it. There's a screen. It's not done. I've got sound effects still to do, music, game complete screen. That's kind of important. And this displaying the target cleanliness at the start of the level and a countdown, I think is something I need to work on as well. So the way I'm approaching levels, I'm basically reusing the design twice, just making the difficulty slightly harder. So level 1, I've removed the second child now, so there's just one child, the same objects, but I've actually set a bunch of additional settings so that I can tweak the difficulty. So I can change the speed of the kids, I can change how far away the clean items can be before they are not detected, and also the required cleanliness percentage. So these obviously go into making the level more or less difficult. So level 1, they're the settings. On level 2, it's the same thing. I've got an additional child in it, and I've tweaked the amount of time and the required cleanliness. Level 3 is an entirely new design, with this sort of void in the middle, which is actually quite tricky because of course you have to try and chase them around it. It's kind of fun. There's more kids in this one. They are faster and they can detect clean items further away. And then level 4, again, there's different settings on this one as well. There's another child in there, and all the percentages and speed and so forth have tweaked and improved. This is the level failed screen. It's pretty straightforward. It just gives you the option to replay the level or to give up, and that will take you back to the main menu. The level complete scene allows you to select from 3 random upgrade options. So here I've been allocated quick shot, bigger tank and long range, and that will increase my shot movement, add more shots to the water tank, or increase my shot distance, and then that changes every single time it goes to it. And all these upgrades now work, which is kind of cool because it allows you to basically build your character how you want. This is my delightful main menu scene. As you can see, it's very elaborate. It's just hitting enter takes you to the character select. You pick your character, and at the moment you're straight into the game. So I think this is when we need that, that countdown, prompting the user to start. So yeah, level complete. And I'm going to pick quick shot. So now my shots will move faster. My favourite one though is the reload time. I'll see if I can show you that in a sec. Damn it. Okay, that's better. So I'm going to go for the faster reload, and that... brilliant. That allows me to basically shoot more rapidly. It does have a negative effect though, obviously depleting my my water tank significantly faster. I don't think I'm going to win this level. I'm out of water. They've managed to completely do every single item. No chance. So yeah, it's quite hard. I don't think I've made a particularly easy game, and that's only level 3. So if I keep on sort of ramping that up, it might prove to be a bit too difficult. It's now Friday night. I've got just slightly more than 2.5 hours before the end of this jam, and it is seriously crunch time. So looking at my Kanban board, there's absolutely loads of stuff I never got around to doing. I'm trying to now tackle the stuff that absolutely need to be in the game. So there's no game complete at the moment. If you get to the end of the levels, I actually don't know what it would do, probably just errors. So I need to put that in. That's kind of important. And I have designed 4 levels. I've started work on a 5th. I'm not going to have time to do it because more importantly I need to get these sound effects in. There's no gun on the player sprite, which I'm a bit miffed about. There's no music. I kind of want to put an intro screen in to try and explain what you're doing in the game, and I had originally thought about putting like a tutorial in, but there's the introduction to the game down there. Actually, let's put that over here. Yeah, so I'm not going to get around to doing a tutorial, so I'm just going to put some on-screen controls on level 1, I think. But I've got some prompts and stuff in the game now. This is the main menu. It's beautiful. I had originally planned to make a really snazzy logo to put here. I don't have time. So yeah, 2.5 hours. Realistically, I need to be done by about 1 o'clock so that I can actually start the export process and create pages and so forth on the thing. And also because I'd like to go to bed at some point tonight. So I'm going to crack on with this, and I will catch up with you in a little bit. Right, I've got an intro in, I've got some sound effects in. I am in the process of trying to sort out my export templates so that I can quickly get a version of the game online. It's 10 past 1. I didn't get level 5 done, but it's okay, it works pretty well. I'll show you in just a minute. Well, I managed to do it. It is now 2:26. I actually submitted it a little while ago. The game page itself looks a bit naff. I don't care. I'll have to sort this out tomorrow, I think. I've been working on my game design document because if you remember at the start of this video I showed you basically just a block of text, and that's not good enough, so I've worked it up now to be a full game design document with mechanics listed and secondary mechanics. I could do with putting some screenshots in, but again, I just haven't got time at the moment. I've put all of my development timeline stuff in here as well, which is kind of cool, in this sort of funky table thing. Yeah, it was fairly easy to do actually, just by lifting it straight out of Obsidian. So I thought, why not? But yeah, it's done, it's live, it's submitted. I will run through the game in just a moment. Well, I say just a moment. It'll be just a moment for you. It'll be tomorrow for me. It's, like I say, 2:30 at the moment, and I'm knackered. So I'll show you the game in just a minute. But right now, I'm going to bed. And that's it, all finished. That's the game. Thanks very much for watching. This was a much longer devlog video than I normally do, so please add a comment down below, let me know what you think of the format. I went into a lot more detail with the code and so forth, so if you enjoyed that, please let me know. If you didn't enjoy it, please let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I've got almost 2,000 subscribers at the moment, and that is excellent, so thank you all for subscribing and watching, and I will catch you in the next video.